Great, that was wonderful. Nice sound, nice direction, good intonation, nice overall arch to the piece. So what did you think? I always like to know what the player thinks. So what were your feelings? If you were sitting in the audience, what would you think?
My playing?
You're playing, yes.
I think later only, and I think I don't have any free.
You think you want to be more free with it.
Yeah.
So what stops you from doing that?
So I think my line is so long and
Your line is, so what?
long,
Right?
and yes, I think so fast.
So do you mean that you feel that you're just concentrating on the line and you can't be free? I see, okay. Anything else? Well, I think that if that is the case, then how do you practice? I mean, if you're thinking, okay, all I'm thinking about is the line, but I want to be more free, is that when you practice the same way?
Yes.
Okay, so whenever I have a problem, I try to solve it, of course. So how do you try to solve an issue like that? Is it that you're forgetting to be free, or you don't know how to be free, or what is stopping you from being as free as you want to be?
I think I don't know how to.
You don't know how to free it up. Can I try your viola? So, wow, this is a very loose bow. You might want to, can I tighten it?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Wow. If I wanted to be more free, for me, my problem is I'm too free. So I want to be less free. So I think I'm pretty good being free. So what I would do is I would experiment. That's all. You know, when you're practicing, if you just say, okay, I'm just going to play through this piece 3 times, maybe slowly once, and then up to medium, and then up to tempo, that may help you get comfortable with the piece, but it may not solve any issues you have. So I would just experiment. So how free do we want it? Or there are many ways you can play anything. So for me, it would be a matter of just experimenting with it and seeing what I like. And of course, this tune happens many times, so you can change it up. For me, I like to write things in my part, especially when I don't remember. So I would just write whatever is going to inspire you to do those free things. I would write in the part, because then you can practice them and not forget them as you're working. So, as I said, it was excellent playing that I heard. When I just wonder the character, besides the freedom issue, how would you describe this piece if you had to describe it, the character of it?
I think about little festival.
Okay.
And very light.
Okay. When you played, I could have used more of the light stuff. I felt it was maybe, for my taste, quite serious. And to me, there's some humor in this. I think REGER's sense of humor may not be my sense of humor or your sense of humor, but it's his sense of humor. And we've got to highlight that there's a piece you can listen to for flute, violin, and viola. It's a serenade by REGER. You should listen to it. It's a very silly piece. just to see how silly REGER can be. These pieces are like etudes somehow. And it's trying to make them sound like great pieces. Nothing against you, Max. They're great pieces. But do you know what I mean? We want to make this as great as possible. Every piece we want to make we want to help it as much as we can. As a matter of fact, I judged the Munich competition years ago, and everybody had to play REGER. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be tough, just to hear that. But it was very interesting because the people who really made it turn it into music, you know, getting away from that etude thing, those were the people like, oh, they've actually made this rather sort of like this piece into something more, it seemed like more than it was. And it's not that easy to do, but what I would be thinking about is, you know, I hear the different characters when you play, but I would like to hear more of them. So isn't this sort of fun, this beginning? Is it fun?
Yes.
You know, when you played, I wanted to hear more fun. So how do we make more fun? It's not like like when I play something sad, I don't have to be sad. When I play something fun, I don't have to be happy, but I have to pretend. You know, we're like actors. So how am I going to act to make this seem like I'm having a lot of fun here? I'm going to pretend here. So what did I do? Why? It seems sort of fun, right? So what was it? Now I'm going to play it now a little less fun. Let's see what the difference. So what was the difference? It was the release of the notes and how I was releasing the notes, and I was more free, as you were saying. So look how I'm releasing. See how I release things? And I'm also thinking about the line. So why is that more fun? Because the harmony here, and then brilliant. Well, not brilliant, but he changed the harmony, so it's sort of fun. So what we do is we point it out. So do you know what I mean? So it's how I'm releasing the notes and making sure I'm pointing out the phrase, and I'm trying to point out the harmony. So in most pieces, we want to bring out harmonies because the people in the audience want to understand the piece as much as possible. And they're going to hear the harmony changes, but if we have a little bit like, oh, so if I go, it means something more. It's like, oh, it's like in a popular song. They're in one key, and they're bringing out that change, and that's what we have to do. So another thing I was noticing was your slides or shifts, whatever they were, wherever they were, I was wondering if sometimes they were too much. Because for me, the rule is, if I make a slide, I want to make a beautiful, gorgeous slide. If I make a shift, I don't want anyone to hear it. If I can get away with, sometimes we can't avoid hearing the shift. But if we hear so, so I work on my slide. It's too much. So something like that. Chrysler will, he'll do a slide like that. But when you do the slides, I sometimes, where were you shifting? Just point out a shift to me. Here. There? Right there? Is it, you mean? No? So where? To there. So the question like there is pretty easy to hide because we have a bow change. So the question is, do you want to slide? For me, I'm not sure it's adding much to it. So I would think about every time you're shifting or sliding, do I want to hear it? Some of them, yes. But some of them, you may say, well, what if I lighten up? See, to make a light slide, if I want to go, so I'm not going to go, because what I'm doing is I have a very light left hand for the shift, and also my shifts are like this. I go like that. I would never go boom, boom, boom. I'm always trying to make it as easy as possible. And I'm also lightening up my bow. You see how I lighten up the bow? So just to think about those. I would just think about this. So just play the opening, and let's think about the release of those notes to have as much humor as possible. Okay, so let's try something. Do every short note up bow. Oh no. Up. On. Up. Okay, you stop the ups. Okay, so I'm not saying you should do that bowing, of course. You should do your bowing, but it should have that kind of release. It feels a little bit like you're saying, oh, listen to this, da dum bum bum ba. It's sort of like this, and okay, I like this much better. I don't know how you feel. Good? Okay, let's hear some of the shift slides. So where would you start doing that? Is it like there? Or? where is that? Where is that? Yeah. So I'm hearing the shifts, and you're also making this very important. I know there's a crescendo, but this is I don't think is such a fun part that I want to hear so much. It's piano. I don't know. I feel a little bit that you're going to like listen to this. It's like when you speak, certain words are very important. Certain words, are not so important. It's the same thing in music. That what's important? Basically, that maybe that not everything is equally important and needs to say, "Look, everybody." Some of it you can relax a little bit. Just start there. Da da dee da da da. Okay, I like that better. It's just I am hearing whatever the fingering is. I wonder that those are not necessarily beautiful. They sound like shifts to me. So do you think you can hide some of them a little bit more? Just do there from the da da dee da da da. Like there, like this when you go. It is like, is that, we have everyone has different tastes. So do you think this is beautiful? Not that everything has to be beautiful either, but you know what I mean? You have to decide when you're playing, is that kind of slide or shift something I want to hear? It's not for me to decide, it's for you because you're the one who's playing. So those are the things as you're practicing. It's like, well, do I like that? Especially because it's on a bow chain. You don't have to hear it at all. Just do that. Just go. Stop. See what I hear? See, you're making the noise. You're holding on. You go da da bum. So wait to shift. Just do that. Okay, and now shorter and shorter space. See, what we have to do in that split second, I have to go there. See how I got that? I'm doing it right when I change the bow. Because if I do it early, or if I do it late, I'll hear noise. You can cheat if you want. You see, look at my bow. I'm cheating by lifting up the pressure on my bow. Good. Yeah, and also, I think my hand is moving quicker. Look how quick I'm going. Good. So now just do it from there, same spot. Okay, so there, as I said, I would listen to all your shifts and slides and say, oh, I like that one. Not so sure about that. Like you do, not sure, for instance, about that. Maybe, you know, you're the one who's playing, so you have to decide. It's da 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 da. Part of it's like, how would you sing it? Would you go da da wa da 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 dum? That's nicer. So you go. Okay, it's also that you go. Do you know what I mean? Like wah wah wah, and you also have to decide if you want to do that. For me, do you see how much bow I'm doing? Just one more time. So you went, you shifted both ways. Oh, wah, wah. Maybe that's too much. Do you hear? Do you hear what I hear? Okay, so I like it better. What does that say? I can't read that.
So many, yeah, more.
More bow.
Yeah, more.
I see. Okay, let's hear that from there. Okay, so can you make this the most fun thing you've ever played? So how are you going to do that? One more time. So maybe there's no. And part of maybe think once just about the vibrato you're doing. Nice, I like that. You took a little time there. So that's what I mean about when you're practicing of trying something. Right there, you didn't play it that way when you played it earlier. You took a little time. And those things like, oh, that makes the piece more interesting, with all due respect, than what's there. And I think that Max, if I may call him that, would be happy with that you fooled around with his piece. So I think we're going to have to stop, but I want you to listen to that Serenade by Max Reger, and you'll see a really silly piece. And it will, maybe will be helpful for this, but thank you for your excellent playing. Okay. Well, are you playing through the whole movement?
And is this your music? Here.
Great, excellent. Sensitive, elegant playing, nice sound, nice. This is not the addition over there.
No, this is,
I appreciate this addition. It's Paul Doctor, that was my teacher and godfather. But you made additional changes from that, so I'm always happy to see his name. So what did you think? I always like to hear what the player thinks.
I was a little nervous, so a lot of things were shaky and a little bit out of tune. But I think there could have been maybe more contrast between different sections. And yeah, I think I just put so
Right.
initial thoughts.
Maybe I thought I'd just tell you my journey with this piece. This is one of the very important pieces of our repertoire. And when I was younger than you, I started playing this in a very romantic fashion, sort of like Schubert meets Paganini, da 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 da, things like that, sliding all over the place. And at a certain point, I said, I have to stop playing this piece. So I put it away. I don't know how many years, 10 years, something like that. And I said, okay, I'm going to play the Arpeggione again, and I'm going to try to see if there's a different approach. So the first thing I did was I listened to an Arpeggione play it. Have you heard an Arpeggione play this? So what does that sound like to you, an Arpeggione?
Not very good. It's very different. You know, the frets are make it sound. And the recording I listened to, it was like maybe 415 or something. So it was
Right.
It was a lot different.
But it sort of sounds like a viola da gamba or something. It's, da, da, da. It's sort of a very Baroque sounding instrument. So I was thinking, wow, you know, Schubert wrote it for this instrument that sounds like this. So why does everyone play it like it's this romantic piece? Now you may say, well, it's written later in Schubert's short life, more in his romantic period, perhaps. Or maybe it's because people like Rostropovich made a beautiful recording that's very romantic, and then people say, oh, listen to Rostropovich, that's so gorgeous. Look how beautiful he makes this piece. But he's doing a lot of, sliding and lots of freedom with the rhythms. So I listened to that and I said, maybe this should be a classical piece. So first thing I did is I'm going to try to get rid of every slide that I can, number one. Number two, I'm going to go through this piece and figure out where are these places where everyone slows down, where it's not marked. Say, do I need to slow down there, or is it because these people do it? Sometimes you need a little time. Sometimes you just can't go straight ahead. You just need something to make it make sense. But I got rid of a lot of the traditional stuff that I decided, tradition, how does tradition happen? Someone takes a little time, you take a little time, and then 2 weeks later, you've done a little bit more, and it grows and grows, and this turns into tradition of yours, and then other people will say, oh, it sounded so nice the way you played that. I'm going to take some time there, too. And they take more time. So that's how this is how traditions like that start. And you just say, well, is that a good tradition? What would Mr. Schubert think? We don't know. He might say, oh, I love it in a romantic style. So I can't say for sure, but the way I play it, also I play everything as much as I can in the lower register to match the Arpeggione register. That's because when you're switching the octaves around, the problem is we can't go low enough on a standard viola. We can't play deep enough. So you have to make compromises. The question is, what compromises are you going to make? There's no perfect answer. You have to decide. For me, I decided, wait a second, it's meant to be in this low register. It matches with the piano. When you raise it an octave, the piano's not raising an octave. So that right there is an issue. And also, when it suddenly jumps up, maybe because I'm used to it in a certain way, it's like, oh, what's that about? Huh. So those were things I like to keep in mind as I'm playing out. Can I don't think I need this. Can I try your viola? Nobody likes to tighten their bow anymore. Can I tighten it a little bit? Yeah. Can we try? Just where the viola comes in. It's a different way of looking at it. I'm not saying my way is right, but I'm also trying to do, I loved and adored Paul Doctor, but this is his edition. So these are not necessarily the phrase markings that Schubert did. Sometimes in the years past, it says an edition, that's how that person played it. That's how Paul Doctor played it. And it was glorious. But I want to see personally what the composer writes. And by the way, when we see that fingering, I believe it's the old-fashioned rule is that you can't play a fifth on the same finger. So that's why they would change the finger. And the problem with that changes, you may say, well, maybe it's nice because it's the same color, same string. I think it's because of the rule. So what happens is that people go da 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 dee da 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 wah. No, that can't be right. It's because of fingering. It's because that first person made that fingering choice. Every edition after that did the same fingering. Forget it. Tradition for me, throw it out the door. That's all I say. But in any case, I'm trying to make it elegant. Forget the slides, but you see I'm also flowing a little bit more than yours is a little bit. And also, you sometimes do slide. You're going back to slides. You go. You finish something, and then you do. You know what I'm talking about? You do slides like that, and I'm sure that you're doing them on purpose, and I assume you like them. I would think about all those slides. Is that and experiment with it. Taste is taste. I'm not saying I have perfect taste, or anybody does, but you're doing slides that are just like, after, it's not like a slide, it's sort of like a release of a note where you go down. Let's just hear the beginning and just try it once. Try it once, forget about all the slides. Try to move it a little bit more, a little lighter. See if you like that kind of approach. And just do me a favor, sing it for me. Da, da, da. So you really think it's da, 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 da? I don't know. For me, the phrase goes da, 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 dee, da, 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 dee, da, da. What's important? Da, 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 da. This? He just wants to get up to the E, right? So he goes da, da, da. These are transitional notes that are not, for my taste, are not of huge importance. So I try to, he also puts dots there. I don't know if they're there. Yeah, they're dots. I don't know. Can try once a little lighter on those notes. Yeah, just bump, 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 bump. Yes. And this I was noticing too. The rests are as important as the notes. If you don't make a rest a rest, like you did right now, you da 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 da. You're not doing what it says. Same thing happened at the end. You went da 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 da, and you're leaving the bow on the string, and the bow's making noise. I'm not saying you go da 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 da. Of course not. But just to be aware that, sorry, I'm going to jump to the end. But if you go. Let's just jump to the end. Just do that. Da, 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 da. You see, you're leaving the bow. See, I'm lifting so little that nobody knows. Otherwise, yeah, but also at the same time, we can't stop the sound. Good. Yeah, I hear. It's a rest there, yeah. Okay, good. I think you get the point. So let's go backtrack now to the beginning one more time. You can play together. Yeah, you see this, it seems heavy and too important. Can I do it with you? Rest. Da, just play that E. Da. Yeah, you don't have to anything like that. It's just, we don't want anyone to know that we're lifting the bow. You know, some things are better left not to be seen. Lifting the bow for something like that is, like, what is that person doing? We don't want to see that because it looks funny. So you just practice, like, how little would I need to lift? And making sure that the sound doesn't stop. Yeah. See how it's ringing. Good, but the reason for my ridiculous fingering is to hide the shift. Otherwise, that's the traditional fingering. That's what I want to avoid. So there, you want. So you have to say to yourself, do I love that? I mean, what does it sound like? Dee, da, da, da. I'm not sure what it sounds like. I'm not sure, is that a shift? Is that a slide? I'm not sure. But I hear. You just have to practice it until you find the perfect way. Just do right there from the F, D. Well, now it feels like a gap. So that's nice. So there's another one. So as I said, I'm not saying to avoid everything. It's just a sounds. For my taste, you know, you're used to playing it that way. You're just like, what is he talking about? I'm just saying, I'm used to playing it a different way, and I'm hearing every single time you made a shift in a slide, I'm hearing it all. But are they hearing it that way? Maybe not. It's just from my perspective. It's like, you know, I'm hearing all this stuff, and you may want to think about it. So think about those shifts. Think about lifting up the bow. When you're playing, you're a bit like this. It would be nice, we don't have time to really get into this, but it feels your posture's a little bit like this. And it'd be nice, I'm not saying you should be anything like this, but in Reader's Digest version, I want this thing. See how I'm moving this around? This is a piece of wood. This is not natural what I'm doing. It sort of looks natural, right? It's not. I'm pretending to make this look natural. And then I'm pretending that this is all natural. This is not. I want it to seem that way, and my posture is like this. So everything I do is like that. You have this machine here that is also making you stuck in a certain fashion. If I had the machine, I think it's called a shoulder rest, I would say that you can move this around. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be like, I'm stuck here because that's where it feels comfortable. You're allowed to lift it up. I want to show you pretty much my favorite picture. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. Look at this. This is Mr. Fritz Kreisler, perhaps the greatest violinist of all time, right? Now, you can see that Mr. Kreisler is playing you can see this afterwards, you see he's playing. What's he doing with that violin?
It's pointed upwards.
It's not only pointed upwards. How's he holding it? He's obviously holding it only with his left hand because it looks something like this. It's just remarkable. And it's like, how are you playing? That's what he's doing. And this guy played incredible. You know what I mean? So just love that picture. It's like, how are you doing that? Because back then people held it much more with their left hand. But that's for another day. Thank you very much for your excellent playing. Thank you. Thank you. Are you playing through the whole movement, first movement? Okay. Bravo. Very expressive playing, dramatic, nice, beautiful sound, good intonation. What did you think?
Yeah, I was focusing on sound, and that was my main focus throughout the whole piece.
Right?
And yeah, I think one thing I would want to improve or tackle might be a little bit of the stableness. Sometimes I find myself
Stable in what way? What do you mean?
maybe in terms of, I don't know, sometimes I feel that my bow is a little bit shaky. Sometimes, especially when I'm a little bit nervous. I think that's, yeah,
Right.
and yeah, I think that's the main thing I was thinking all the time.
Right. Well, you move around a lot, and if you move around a lot, sometimes that can affect the shakiness of the bow too. You know what I mean? That to me, you're moving around a little distracting for me, for my taste. And you know, if it sounds good, maybe it doesn't matter, right? But you know, people are coming to a concert to hear you play beautifully and also to look at you, right? They're looking at you, otherwise they could put on a recording. So you're doing a lot of this, and you're also like before some of the entrances, you like are leading. She doesn't need necessarily some of this leading. I don't know how you feel about it, but sometimes you're doing some stuff before some entrances that are maybe not needed. So you have this shoulder rest thing, and as we were saying, you missed the picture. Look how Mr. Fritz Kreisler is holding that violin. He's not holding the violin, he's holding with the left hand. I had the great privilege of taking master classes with William Primrose. Mr. Primrose, of course, he did not like shoulder rests. None of the old players did. First of all, it didn't exist until a certain point. But Primrose could certainly have used one if he felt it was needed. And he said, you know, I just hold the viola with my left hand. Oops. And he said, look, I can play anywhere. I don't need this. That's what he said to us. He said, I don't want to clamp down on this thing. That's not going to be a good thing because I'm tight. I want to be loose. You want to be loose. You're moving around a lot because you want to be loose. So we asked Mr. Primrose, how do you shift? Which would be the most important question. If you're holding the viola in the left hand, how am I going to move that? I could do that. That's not easy. So Mr. Primrose said, oh, I just lift up my shoulder. Just look what I'm going to do. Look here. So, wow. And then he said, sometimes people use the lip thing and they would clamp down just for that shift. And his point is that you had that freedom of movement. And for me, after I studied with him, I had a few weeks free, and I said, I'm going to do this. I am going to do this. William Primrose said to do it. So I tried, and I was really, I can do it, but I realized I can't do it all the time. So what I do is I hold in my left hand, and I hold it here. And you may say, oh, I have a long neck. Well, you could get a higher chin rest or whatever, but it would be worth exploring. If you've always used a shoulder rest, for all of you who have only used a shoulder rest, it's worth exploring not using the shoulder rest, just to see how that changes your playing. And to do that, idea of holding in the left hand is possibly, in that case, would help you because you want to move. Their machine is holding you back because your machine is making you stuck in one place because it's just resting here. So you want to move like this. If you didn't have the machine, or even if you had the machine, you could hold it this way. You could move it that way instead of, this is what I'm seeing a lot. And you've seen recordings of yourself play, and you may be fine with it. You may say, look, that's your taste. I like to move around, buddy. That's fine. That's fine. I don't have a problem. I'm just telling you my take on it. It's like, why is he moving around so much? And it may be, just as I said, just because these things aren't put you in one place doesn't mean it has to be in that one place. The directions don't say it has to stay there. You can actually move this thing around. If you have to use this thing, you could move it around this way, but you're compensating by this way. Another thing I notice is this, like your pinky and stuff is like up like this. You know what I mean? So habits are hard to break. I can't, if you ask me to change anything at this point, forget about it. I'm not changing a thing. I can't. But, and I know it's hard. How do you deal with that? I'll tell you one thing. For me, home base of the viola is right here, these two strings, the middle strings. It's not here. Do you know what I mean? This is not where I'm starting from. Because if I'm starting from here, everything's sort of like, if I want to go to the C string, it's a big journey. If I'm here, my journey's very short. This is my journey to the C string. Here's my journey to the A string. See how everything is concise? To me, I want to make everything as concise as possible, and I want to work as little as I can. And so my bow arm also is home base there. And I'm using very little movement. Your first teacher and my first teacher and everybody's first teacher had levels, right? I'm going to show you my levels. Because it's just a lot of, it doesn't sound better for me, so I don't bother. If I play, look at my arm. What I'm doing is I'm just pivoting up there. Our teachers also, first teachers, said play in the middle of the string, right? You've heard that. Every first teacher does that. I think there's a book that they all follow about things you have to teach. And, you know, why? Because little kids play all over the place, and you want them to play cleanly. So you say play in the middle. That seems like the most easy way to accomplish that. But for me, I'm never playing in the middle, because that means I have to go all the way over to there. So when I'm playing on the C string, I'm almost playing on the G string. When I play on the A string, that's, you know that piece, right? It's the Brahms Sextet opening. So I'm not going to go. Sounds better, and I've used half the energy that I would have if I'd played in the middle. So all I'm saying is that I'm trying to make everything concise when I play. There's my home base for my bow as well. Everything I want like this. The more movement I have, anything like that, and I know, as I said, habits forget about. My pinky is just going up. It's okay. But that means the higher it is, the bigger journey it is to get it down there. And trying to think about it and concentrating on that, you know, if you have a fast passage and whatever, that Brahms is just not really there. But in certain other things that maybe it doesn't cause you a problem. But you want to make life as easy as possible. So trying to think about that. This is all general thing. It's just that I see a lot of this movement that, as I said, if you're good with it, do it. But for me, it's like, is that helping us? Is that helping you? You know, and I'm not saying you should also go, no, I don't mean to do that. We need movement. The question is, we want to be relaxed, and I want you to do me a favor, put your arm out. Everyone can do that. Put all your arms out. Yeah, someone's asleep there. So put your arm out and don't move it. Don't move. Don't move the arm. Yeah, put that arm out. I don't see your arm. Okay, I see it now. Okay, it's getting tense, right? It's tense. That doesn't feel good. Now let's move it around. Okay, not tense. Now let's just move it a little, tiny little bit. Still not tense. We don't need much movement. More movement doesn't make it more relaxed. To me, that's enough. This isn't going to help. Do you know what I mean? If you're saying the more I move, the more relaxed I am, the thing is, I'm going to exaggerate. This is not you, but if I did that, what happens? Everything has to react to that. See? So if I move down like this, that means this is moving here. If I go, it's a lot of accommodating the movement. And as I said, you should move. I really do think you should move. But just to think. I'm moving. I'm also trying to move in a way that corresponds to the music. I'm not going to choreograph it and say, oh, just move here. I'm just listening to the phrase. I'm not going to go. Obviously, that doesn't seem appropriate. Now, I know it's hard. I'm not asking you to change this right now. I'm just asking you just to think about it as you're playing, and you may say, forget it. I'm happy the way I am. Or may say, you know, maybe, has anyone else ever told you that?
I think so.
Yes. And when you hear it from other teachers or colleagues, and enough people say something similar, it's advice, and it's for you. That's why when you play for different people, it can be very helpful, especially like your teacher says something to you all the time, whatever that is. You say, oh, he always or she always says the same thing. And then another teacher says the same thing. You say, oh, maybe I should have listened to my teacher. You know what I mean? That sometimes that reinforces something you've heard before. Now, let's try something fun. Take off that machine. Ugh. My teacher, when I was 10, made me throw it away. Haven't used it since. That's all I'm going to say. Try that. Have you ever tried that? You think it's going to slip? I could give you...
I'll see how it goes.
Okay. Just where you come in. Okay, so you feel very uncomfortable. I know that, but partly because you think it's going to fall. So maybe a sponge may help. It's just worth, if you've only used this, it's worth exploring another option. It will change your playing, and you may say, no, I have to use this. But it's worth doing. Another thing, as I said, as far as cueing, what is your name? Kyunga. So, do you really need me? If you go a bar before. Do you need that? I don't think so. Let's just do it one more time. If you're doing it for her, she doesn't need it. Just do it. Try again. Put the machine back on. Just start the beginning again. Bar before. Okay, good. Sounds great. Now you feel like, I can't move. He doesn't want me to move. You can move. So to play it again, just to think about, what if I move it with my left hand? You can move around. I don't want you to feel like I can't play. You know what I mean? Just, I want you to feel good. Okay. So, you see, what it is it's like, it feels like there's a chin rest. I got to use that whole chin rest. I got to, as I'm playing, that's where I come in. I was holding a lot in the left hand. Probably I wouldn't do that much, but it's something worth experimenting. And just for, it says by the way, it says poco forte. But this is the forte. It's I think more effective just to really do what he says, but no accent at the end. Just do it. Okay, good. Sorry. So going back to the playing in the middle of the string, what I see is, and what I'm doing, do you see how close it is? But the thing is, as I said, I think it sounds better, but I also am using a third less energy if I do it that way. And as a lazy person, I appreciate that. And with those words, I say thank you, because we have to go on to the next person. Thank you very much. Great, beautiful playing. Some nice colors and nice flow, dramatic. What did you think?
I think it needed more energy.
So why wasn't there the energy you wanted?
I mean, I feel nervous in front of on the stage, like those people on cameras.
There are not that many people. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, right, so you feel a little uptight, so it's a little hard just to be totally free. Anything else?
What was lacking?
Well, if you were sitting there, what do you think you would say to yourself?
Maybe more of a connection. Like, I feel like I'm not conveying the music to the audience.
And when you practice, do you feel that it's coming across and it was just right now, or is it always that way? What is your feeling?
I always feel that way, like I'm very unsure if it is, if it's not.
If what you mean, the colors you're getting, are they going out there?
Yeah.
Right. I heard colors, but I wanted to hear more colors. The thing is that when we're playing, everything we do is amplified by 1 billion times. I play and I say, oh my gosh, that was so out of tune. That was so flat. And I listen to the recording and say, well, maybe it was on the low side, but maybe I overreacted. You know, everything seems like a lot. And so, oh, I did that color. They're going to hear that color and say, maybe not. So sometimes we've got to be more blatant about it. Oh, I'm going to make more special color. Can I try? Nobody tightens their bow. I like a little more tighter bow. Everybody has a machine too. So. you know, how, you know, when we have, we were talking about earlier, so I'm not feeling necessarily excited inside, but I want you to think that. I want you to feel, oh, he's, like that. I guess sometimes I am, but I want to convey that in my playing. So what's doing that? What it is, it's the intensity of the left hand. It's how I grab the string, bow speed. It all is coming together, and I'm trying, how am I going to make this seem like it's, that's what I want. You know what I mean? It's just, it's so well written, this opening. It's just like, it's, you know, she did an incredible job with that opening. It's just like, it just works. It's pretty amazing, you know. It's also the release, how much vibrato you. Whatever, that if I were to play this piece, I don't love the piece. Second, after the first moment, it sort of goes downhill for me, but that's my own taste. But when you get to the, where is that, the, da-da-da, you know, the next part after the cadenza thing, and we get to this, you know, it's, right? It's a breathless quality, and that's what I'm trying to do. And so she writes, you know, forte, piano crescendo, piano crescendo, piano crescendo, forte. She wants this incredible thing. I'm not saying you're not doing it. I'm just saying you need to double it. And also the thing, I'm putting a little bit of that in there. So I'm spreading. So I'm experimenting, like how much bow on this viola, every viola is different, how much is going to work? That was bad. She put a comma there. That comma, you can, you know, as I said, inside, I'm not feeling any of this stuff, but I want them to think that. So it's like you're almost falling there. It says strong. Strong, yes. But to me, you get to a place like this, first of all, it's number 2. It must mean something. That's a joke. So you get to number 2, yes, I strong, but I think it's also a new color opportunity. This piece has so many opportunities. You know, there's a sort of an excess of this piece. You need to exploit that and not be like, oh, I can't, no, I don't want to, no. You know what I mean? Another thing you may want to think about is, as violas, we're never loud enough. So, like, if I play in front of an orchestra, that letter P, that's mezzo forte. Forte is fortissimo. Fortissimo is as loud as I can possibly play. Orchestra is just like, and the comment, what the conductor says, how do you feel? Oh, okay, it's a little loud, especially if they can't really hear me. So it's all, when you're working with orchestra, it's all about being heard. And this is a big piece, it's a big piano part. So when the piano's playing big, you want to make sure you're getting out there. If you go like this, now I think it's nice you're communicating, you're turning in. You can't do that. You just, because, you know, if I think I'm getting more sound out of the instrument, but I would be very aware if you move your viola, what's going to happen with that sound in the hall? And where am I going to play? I'm reacting to the sound that's happening. If I play in a chamber group and everyone's playing big, well, I guess I have to play big. This is life. And so how do we get sound? It's both speed, you know, where on the string, if I'm playing, you know that. It's the resistance. And sometimes that's ugly. In the hall, sometimes ugly is okay. It doesn't come across as ugly. And how am I getting sound? I'm getting, let's everybody do this. Everyone put their arm out like this, left arm, right arm like this. Just rest it there. Now drop the right arm. What happens? Here, what do you feel there? Weight. That's the weight I'm using to get the sound. There are different approaches about how to play viola or violin. For me, I'm using that weight. I can play like this. Don't do that. But you see, I'm using the weight of that arm. That's heavy. My arm is heavy. Probably heavier than yours, but it's still heavy. So I'm using that weight, and it's like I have a 50-pound bracelet on my arm. Right now, it's on my elbow because of gravity. Oh, it's coming down to my wrist now. It's there. There's that 50-pound weight. And now it's going back to the elbow. And when I play soft, it's not a 50-pound weight anymore. It's much lighter. So I'm using that weight to get the sound. You know, though. I think you can get a little more sound out of this. Just start that opening. Yeah. I think you can do even more. Just do slow. And try to, you know, what we're trying to get is we think about the sound quality. Yes, it's just forte. It's forte. We want just to be big, but just do it slowly once. Okay, now it does feel a little forced. So we find that middle ground of a little grit is okay, too much grit is not okay. So, and also, how much bow speed do we need? Okay, good. That sounds good. Now let's go back. Let's go to 1 for those color things. So let's try that. Just play that. And just a lot of, just play this. We want a little bit of that, more of that as we're doing that. Just try that again. Okay, start to. Okay, it's better. You can even do more. So let me just see. I'm doing more. It's like I'm skating and I'm almost about to fall. One more time. Okay. Great. Let's now go to a nice soft spot. Is that number 7? You see what you're doing? You're saying you're being such a nice colleague. You're turning to say hello, but she doesn't need that. You know? Okay. So even here, I think, it's this fanciful thing. The more concentrated your bow is, the less fantasy there is. The lighter. See, that makes it seem like it's dreamy. So, one more time. Okay, so now it's a little timid sounding, but that's the idea. So, about your posture, for me, my posture is, I want to be just like you are. This is your posture, right? That's where you want to be. We don't want to raise anything. That's what every teacher agrees. No teacher says raise a shoulder. It's just the number one rule that everyone agrees on. Everything else is up for debate. I feel a little bit like you raise it a bit. You just want to, we want to feel strong. You may have heard something like this, like from the sub-basement of this beautiful hall, there's a fire, an inferno that's coming up, and the strength is coming through my legs to here, and these are my tree trunks, whatever. I'm using that strength. See, the way I stand, if I stand this way, like that. I want to feel strong, and it's like you want your stance, like if I were to push you, how could you stop me from doing it? What kind of stance? That's how strong you want to feel. Then you want to be flexible here. So, I have that, I feel that strength. I'm using that strength, even though I still feel strong. But what I think you could be thinking about is like, am I, as I said, people have ideas, different ideas. For me, I like to keep everything relaxed. It's just, I'm a violist, I'm a Californian, and I'm a Libra. These are very relaxed things. It's that I can even move. I'm just amazed sometimes. These are too many things going against any kind of energy. So I want to be strong and relaxed. So my posture in a perfect world, you can see me playing and say, oh, he doesn't do that. In a perfect world, my posture would be like, everything. Unfortunately, it isn't. But that's what I'm aiming for in a perfect world, which we don't live in. Do you see my posture? I'm trying to, yes, I want flexibility, but I don't want to do anything in excess that I don't need to, because there's enough to worry about that anything that contorts anything. I'm not saying you're all over the place. All I'm just saying is that the machine, whatever, you're a little stuck here. It could be more relaxed, as we were just saying previously. Trying the idea of playing with more of the left hand and say, I can move this thing. If I'm using a shoulder rest, it doesn't necessarily have to be resting there, like it's suspended from the ceiling. You know what I mean? I want it to feel like this is a natural thing. If it's like this, it's not natural, you see? Stuck. It's a big, just between this and that. You know what I mean? If I go, he's very tense. Because that's relax. Always thinking about relax. Okay, let's see how you're standing there. You're standing like this. Is that relaxed? Let's see if I understand. Oh, it feels good. Right now I have tension on just one finger. Don't do this. I don't want you to drop your viola. But I'm holding that viola with one finger under the scroll. It's pretty relaxed. There's a little tension there. But everything I do, I can think about how I walk down the street. If I walk like this or whatever, is that tense? And you may say, he's crazy, but I want to be strong but relaxed. As far as the playing goes, it's excellent playing. As I said, you have wonderful instincts to exaggerate all these things and think about your sound production. Make sure you don't turn in too much. You want to, we're never loud enough. Even when people tell us to be quiet, it's never loud enough. In chamber music, we're facing the wrong way. Our colleagues think that we're playing loud because they hear it. They don't hear it out there. It's a never-ending source of, so that's what we have to deal with as a violist. But the nice thing is that we play the most beautiful instrument of all, right? Yes. We do play. Say, yes, we do play. Thank you. Thanks.